Nat, good to finally talk to you. How have your first couple of weeks as a Celtic player been?
Enjoyable, yeah. I felt like didn't take me long to settle in. The lads have been great with me. The staff's been great with me. Into a flat now, so it's all been very smooth. And I'm enjoying it.
The first game you watched on as a Celtic player was
I did.
a pretty big victory. What did you take away from that?
I think the lads dug in well. Obviously, it was tough at the end, but the lads showed that when the backs are against the wall a bit, they can dig in at the same time. It's a huge result and a huge win. So they perform well.
Does the reaction to that and everything around that game really whet your appetite for what's to come in your Celtic career?
I think so, yeah. I don't think it needed wetting anymore, to be honest. I was already really excited about it before that game, but it certainly gave me a taste and an idea as to what it's all about.
Very much are you raring to go now to get out on the pitch?
Very much so. I can't really overstate that. I just want to get playing games for the club and get contributing.
Did the game against Rangers surprise you in any way?
No, I wouldn't say so. I had to watch it from inside, so you could obviously hear the atmosphere, but I didn't get to see it for myself. It's obviously got a huge reputation, that game. And I think, like I said earlier, the lads did well to get the result.
What's the reaction been like from the squad in these 2 weeks when obviously we had an international break after such a big win, and how much it meant? What's it been like on the training ground and around the club?
We didn't dwell on it for too long. The lads were happy. Obviously, it was an international break, so there's a few days off. And then once the lads were back in, it was back to training, back to working hard and working towards the next games coming up.
You said you were watching the game from inside. Were you inside the media room at Rangers?
That's right, yeah.
How was that experience?
Well, obviously I wanted to be in and around the dressing room, in amongst the boys, taking it all in. Inside the media room itself wasn't as fun as it might have been in the stands, but at the same time it might not have been that fun in the stands as probably the only Celtic person in a stand. But I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was just good to be there and supporting the lads. It was obviously a tense game to watch as well, but an enjoyable one.
Any advice at all from your dad about your move up here?
No. My dad's obviously been someone who's given me a lot of advice throughout my career, but as I've got older, he's happy to sort of leave me to it and come to him when I feel like I need the advice. I'd say that generally comes on a game-to-game basis. He was excited for me about the move and excited for me to get playing games.
What is it exactly you're looking for from your loan spell at Celtic?
I've gone through a period at Liverpool where I've not been playing a great deal, and ultimately in the transfer window I knew that I needed to get playing games regularly somewhere, and Celtic has given me a great opportunity to do that at a good level and at a huge club, one with a stadium that's always packed full of passionate fans, which as a player that's what you want to be doing. You want to be playing in those atmospheres, and at a club who have aspirations and high expectations, which again as a player you want to be pushing towards big end goals, and that's something that Celtic gives me.
You get a chance of Champions League football
exactly,
at Celtic Park. How exciting is that prospect?
Really exciting. I think Champions League is probably the pinnacle of football for a lot of players, so like I say, it's a great opportunity to be involved in that as well.
But you've got experience of playing the Champions League before. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Just that I've loved every time that I have been out on the pitch in the Champions League. It's obviously that next level, competing against the biggest and best in Europe, and it's obviously highly competitive, but at the same time I know that at Liverpool those Champions League nights have a reputation for being special, and I've heard it's the same at Celtic, so I'm looking forward to experiencing that.
What has the manager spoken to you about your role here? Because obviously, when everyone's fit, he's not short of options in terms of central defenders. What has he spoken to you about how he sees you fitting into this squad at the moment?
We've not gone into that in too much detail at the moment. Obviously the situation, like you say, at the moment is that there's a lot of injuries, and there is a hole there that hopefully I can fill. And then we've not gone beyond that. It's just a matter of take it step by step. I need to get in and play games, and get into the rhythm of things, and when that comes, then maybe there'll be a conversation then, but that's obviously off into the future.
So is that expected to be roughly about January time when it's going to be reviewed, that you would then look to see whether you could stay here or go back, or is that sort of up in the air in that sense?
I think, ultimately there will be like a review in January and a conversation in January. I don't know when exactly the other boys are due to be back in fit and training, but like I say, we've actually not had the conversation about that.
When did the interest in Celtic first arise in terms of that?
Well, probably 2 or 3 days before I signed. Yeah.
Quite a short turnaround, but one I suppose you were looking forward to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like I said previously, throughout the window, there'd been different clubs thrown around and different, for my situation, conversations, but Celtic one really jumped out at me, and that was one that I was really excited to try and progress.
Can I ask you about a teammate of yours at Liverpool, a player that people in Scotland are very excited about, Ben Doak? I'm sure you'll have trained with him and played with him. How excited should people be about him as a prospect?
From what I've seen from Doakey so far, I think plenty of people have got every reason to be excited about him. He's very confident. Sometimes young boys come up with the first team and they might play within themselves a bit, and that's not been the case with him. He's electric when he's running at players. He's happy to run at anyone, and I think if he continues to progress the way he's doing, then he'll do well.
Just 17 years old. I think today he's been included in Liverpool's Europa League squad as well. Has he just got that fearlessness about him that a young player needs to succeed?
Yeah, I think that's it. He's fearless is the way I would describe him. He's obviously got bags of ability as well, certainly in 1v1 scenarios. So I think that the rest of it's up to Ben and how he applies himself in training and how he works on his game. But the basic tools and the foundations are there for him to go on to be a great player.